do. Give me a few minutes. I'm gonna jump in here and show y'all what's going on.
You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're channeling wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, 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 oh,
All right, let me drop this out real quick. Hear my voice over. Drop one of these real quick. Let's see if that works. All right, cool. Just wondering why I'm hearing an echo. Let's see here. Let me jump in here and see what's going on. Yep, there it goes. All right, cool. So for some strange reason, I'm hearing an echo, and I think I just about got it. All right, cool. All right, it's been a minute since I've been up on here. I had to change some stuff around. I switched up. I pretty much switched up what I was doing as far as the layout and how I wanted to do this. Because last time I went live, I had a whole 1 hour stream where I didn't get shit done because I couldn't get my audio working properly like I wanted to. So for the whole 1 hour stream, so I'm gonna redo this particular live again where I talk about blue collar work. So I'm gonna switch over here to my main screen and I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. Okay. Now, what folks want you to do is they want you to sit up here and lie to yourselves, right? College is not all it's cracked up to be. Now, I've been to college. I have a degree. It's in education. And what I have learned is that it doesn't, your degree really doesn't matter. It really doesn't. So you can sit up here, like I said, and lie to yourself and act like you're better than everybody. But the truth is, they put a premium on degrees. And what a lot of people are finding out is that, yeah, you went out there and got that degree. You spent X amount of dollars, took on a bunch of debt. And for what? For what? Why did you take on all that debt? Why? Half the folks out here can't even get a job. And that's the crazy part about it. Let me slide my chat over so y'all can see it. But what I want to do with my podcast is tell young men that it's okay. It's okay not to have a degree. It's okay to go in the fields where you can make a decent living, less stress, no debt, and you're going to be fine. But the people out there, the rest of the society, say you got to be educated to have class. You got to be educated to be amongst the elites, and you really don't. There are more blue-collar millionaires in this world than there are white-collar. Because what happens in the white-collar arena is that you'll go and make all this money for these folks. You'll work there 20 years. And then when they feel like they need to make some cuts or they need to trim the budget, you'll be the first ones to go. So that's what I want to talk about here today. You got on your screen in front of you, what you're going to see here is despite what you believe about unions, a lot of folks can benefit from what unions do. You get extra protections for your job, extra benefits, benevolence funds for if you're out of work, health care, dental, life insurance. A lot of that stuff is rolled up in our contracts already. Where are you going to go? And this is, despite what you believe, this is besides the money that you get paid on the check. Okay. So don't believe the hype about unions. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. I'm going to show you some examples. This is a website where guys report in what they're making versus what's on their check. Okay. So this is all self-reporting. I would show you a pay stub, but I'm not prepared for that today. I didn't scan anything in, so we're just going to have to run with it. But I can tell you now that from what I see on this website, for my particular area, it's absolutely true. So if you didn't know anything about unions and the history of unions, yeah, it did start. Some of it is true about how it started out in the mobs and how they monopolized the labor force and forced the employers to actually care about their employees. And what folks are finding out now with the layoffs in the tech sector and all these people losing these high, six-figure jobs, if they were part of a union, that wouldn't be happening. Because these tech companies are going to make money regardless. They're going to make money whether you're there or not. And what unions do is protect their employees from the contractors, businesses, and so forth, so that they can't just fire you on a whim. But like I said in the beginning, I could tell you a little bit about that, but what I'm here to do today is to show you that it's okay. It's okay to get your hands dirty. And my motto is my 8 hours, and I had to tell my brother this until he joined the union, was that my 8 hours is worth more than yours. And people kind of look at me sideways when I say that, and like, I mean, it's true. I'm making double what you make to sit in the office. Yeah, I may sweat a little bit, but for the 8 hours I spend out there in the field, you couldn't do that. A lot of y'all just wouldn't do it, but you need to get over yourselves. So here we go. We're going to jump right into this website. This is unionpayscales.com. I'm using this to illustrate my point because it's not just construction. There's a lot of skilled labor out there, even in the tech sector, where you can be a consultant, a freelance contractor. There's guys out there, they have a regular job and they contract with other sites to write code for them. I mean, just to develop your skills and lend your expertise to these people out here that really need it. I mean, it sucks that you work at a job and then they'll bring in a consultant to do the same job that you're doing. But you got to put yourself in that position because if you could do it, you would. I have no doubts about that. All right, so let's dive right in. So let me look at something real quick because I got to show you this before we continue. So here is your chart basics when you jump onto this website. I'm going to go through it. City, state, hourly wage, yearly salary, total package, cost of living. Okay. 100% is the average according to this scale. So 100% of the cost of living, wherever you live, if that's what it takes to live there and you're at 100%, that means that is the average across the board, all 50 states and U.S. territories. Okay. So moving on. This right here, you got to pay attention to. Because you'll hear a lot of people say they make six figures, but if you live in California, you can kind of adjust that down a little bit. And it gives you an explanation here. $50 an hour, that twice the national average. It's basically like you're making $25 an hour. Now, if you know anything about the statistics amongst what people make, men and women, the average is around $40,000. So even if you made $25 an hour, that's pretty much average. You're still doing better than than most people. So 40,000 is the average. $25 an hour is around 55,000, depending on how many hours you work in a year. Hang on, let me pause for a second and throw this out there. I consider myself part of the manosphere. There are plenty of us out here who will tell you things like what I'm going through right now. I don't care about the dating and marriage aspects of everything, but because all that stuff will come. What I'm focused on right now is showing you these charts, how to navigate this site, and to trying to build young men up and let them know that it's perfectly fine. You may not get the notoriety that everyone else gets as far as like your job and stuff like that, because being a plumber is not as glorious as being a account executive for a Fortune 500 company. We get it. You know what I'm saying? With the pay, the pay is probably significantly higher. But how many of those jobs are there to go around? Whereas there are many jobs for folks digging ditches, plumbing, electrical, mechanical, and so forth. You have a better shot at a job that's going to get you close. Not like the movies or anything. Because you're not going to be like the guys in the movies. You're not going to be Mr. Cartwright. It's not going to happen. But you can be in a respectable position, low six figures to high six figures, depending on how far you want to take your career in one of these skilled labor jobs. I mean, it all depends on you. Okay? The only thing that's holding you back is you. You're not competing with millions of people across the globe for the same job, as you've seen with the massive layoffs in all these tech sector jobs and high skill jobs people was bragging about and doing TikToks on. They straight getting shut down right now. So let me get some background music going because I got to get something going here. Let's see. Can we hear this? Let me turn this up for a second. All right, now. Let me turn this thing back up. All right, so now that we got our noise floor music background going, we're going to continue on. Okay. And I'm gonna pause here and there so I can give you some context and some background. But other than that, we're gonna keep it moving. Okay. So you got vacation. Vacation money comes out of your check before you get paid. That way that they kind of help you save for a vacation. Like in our particular union, I think it's like 6% of whatever you make for the month goes into your account. Now you can either touch the account or don't. Just leave it there. 6% is being saved for you. If you ignore it completely, by the end of the year, you have a nice chunk of change so you can go anywhere you want to. Like our goal, me and my wife's goal this year is to go on a cruise. That's what we're going to try to do this year. I mean, I can pay for it outright. However, you got to get some things in order. Now, so there's that health and benefits. All this stuff is paid by the contractor as far as construction goes. As far as construction goes, all this stuff is paid for by your contractor. So you won't see this come out of your check up front, except for the 401k, the dues. I have mine set up to come out of my vacation fund. So they take all my dues out. And what I pay in dues is pretty much negligible compared to what I make throughout the year. Now we're going to jump back up here because this is the part that everybody wants to see because I don't want to be on here too long. My wife is out doing something right now. All right. So like I said before, I'm an electrician. This is what I do, but I can show you all these different jobs and I'm going to try to go through them as quickly as possible. Hey, sweetie. Hang on one second, guys. Let me jump off here for a second. All right, I'm back. My wife came in for a second and asked me a question. All right, so here we go. We're going to jump right into it. My specialty of choice, because with all the green jobs that's about to happen, now you can try to scapegoat your way around this, but it's not going to happen. It is not going to happen. You would rather, I've tried to tell people this and take my word for it. If you want to get into a green job, you might want to become an O1 electrician. In my area, that is industrial and commercial, because a lot of these big businesses are going to want to save money. They're going to want to go green. They're going to want qualified personnel who can come in and install this stuff. So you'll be right there in the sweet spot. However, there are these other jobs where they have, what is it called? Like your, trying to phrase this the right way, but your solar installers. That's one job title I saw. They are limited to just solar panels. But if you are an industrial electrician, you will be trained in all these different areas as far as solar, electric vehicles, industrial power, plant power, commercial buildings, residential, yada yada. I mean, the list goes on. The license that I'm going for and I'm about to finish this year, I can do everything that a solar installer can do, as well as a residential electrician can do. So basically you're like one step below master electrician. It takes a lot longer to get this license. However, the payoff at the end is great. Okay. It's great. And you're about to see it right here. So here we go. We're going to scroll down because nobody wants to hear me ramble on and on and on. I'm going to show you the chart and I'm going to let you decide for yourself. Okay. So on that last screen we looked at, you had your breakdown of the chart and how it works. And now we're going to do this. Nobody wants to see what the average is. You got the average of all the cities. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about that number. We're going to look at yearly salary because that's the thing that people want to look at with the current economy and way things are going. You want to put yourself in a position, and you better listen to this part right here. You want to put yourself in a position to where you're always going to be needed. That's why these skilled labor trade jobs get paid so much. and it's only going to get worse with the layoffs and the inflation that's going on. You're not going to be inflation proof. However, you're going to be in a better position than everyone else because everybody needs power because most homes are electric. You'll need HVAC people because a lot of homes are gas. You're going to need plumbers because you gotta use the bathroom somewhere, right? So here we go. Now on this chart, you can click on each section if you go to this website, and hopefully you're following along with me while you hear me talk. I got 3 people in here. Thank you for coming by. Thank you for checking out the channel. And here we go. Yearly salary based on 40 hours a week. Okay. So I sorted it. First time you click on it, it's going to sort by lowest to highest and not just the average. So at the low end, at $41,000 being the average for people across America, in Kingsport, Tennessee, you're still making $2,000 more than people on average and for that area. Now, here's the thing. You're going to see cost of livings like this one right here, which are significantly lower than the national average. So if your expenses only cost about 80% of what the national average is, you're doing pretty good. You're doing damn good because you're making an average salary for a man or woman across America, but you have only 80% of the cost that everyone else has. I would say that's a win. That's a win to me. All right, let's do this. I'm going to scroll down the list a little bit so you can get a good idea of what's going on. So, local number 934, electricians, total package, which means what the contractor pays in total to employ you is $36. Now, you'll notice this right here, this number here goes on your check, $21.50. That's $800 and something dollars, almost $900 a week. All right. I know a lot of people that work 2 weeks, 2 whole freaking weeks, and most construction jobs get paid weekly. I know folks that work 2 weeks and that's all they'll get is $900. Now, I'm not telling you it's all about the money, but make your time worth it. We're all trading time for compensation. Okay. We're all doing it. There's no way around it. I mean, unless you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth, you got to get up, throw some clothes on, and go to work. Okay. Now, $6 of your total package that comes out goes towards your pension. So that drops you down to 27. You have your NEBF fund and a few other things. And then 4% of what you make for the month or hourly or whatnot goes to your dues. Now, if you're making $800 a month, 4% of that is what? Probably like $50 or so. And that's not bad. You're paying $50. You don't have to do your own job searches. You're getting medical, dental, getting paid weekly, making a decent wage compared to everyone in the country. And all you got to do is pay what? $50 a month. Okay. That's why I have beef with people that say they hate unions. I'm just paying these people just so they can take our money. Man, shut up. You got job security. You got contractors and employers that can't just run over you, because guess what the union does? They hire lawyers to go after the contractors if they don't hold up their end of the bargain. You got kind of a monopoly on certain types of labor. Like if you're the only ones in a certain area who make screws for a particular plane, like Boeing, for instance, they have their own union, their labor pool and stuff like that. It's hard to go out and train people to do the job that the unions train people to do, unless they want to start a school somewhere where they can train their own folks, which is going to cost them more than it is to hire people from the local labor pool. So now let's do this. We're going to flip this around. So the highest paid electricians in the country live in San Francisco. This is what goes on their check. Their total package, medical, dental, everything, what the contractor pays you is $123, which is the highest, which is one of the highest in the country. It's not, each union is different. They may have a different structure. That's why you see down here in San Jose, their total package is $131, but maybe their medical and dental costs a little bit more. And that's what the contractor pays. It does not come out of your pocket. I repeat, this does not come out of your pocket. The only thing that comes out of your pocket is maybe your dues. It's your dues, as a matter of fact. All right. So, what goes to their pension in California? Anywhere between 20 and this is pretty high. What goes into your pension when you retire? If you know anything about the cost of living in California, in San Francisco, it is 244%. You're paying 144% more to live in California than anywhere else in the country. All you do is subtract 100. How I got to that number, where 100% based on this scale is that average across the board. Most of y'all will never, ever, ever see a check where you get paid $80 something an hour. But it is very possible to do so. You're making more than like $1.50 a minute. A minute. Now, in certain areas, like I said, they deduct your vacation fund directly out of your check. So if your vacation fund for you to go on your leisure and stuff like that, because we don't get paid vacations. Whenever you take off, it's on your dime, but they will do something like, because you get paid so much, they will help you set aside money. That's what the vacation fund is, so that when you do take off, you can go on vacation, 6% of your earnings, and be okay. So what I want to do right here is I want to pull up this calculator, because even though this is California, even though this is California, it's still a pretty decent wage. We can go over to this section here, adjust it based on the cost of living. So it's like they're making, $34 an hour. You're still somewhere around the $60,000 range, which is still better than the average folks. Okay. I live in an area where you're only 68% higher than the national average, which is still pretty good. And you have a wage that is comparable to about $25 less than the highest in the country. But we don't have that extra, extra, almost damn near 100% more cost of living. It's no wonder that folks are fleeing from California in droves if the national average is this right here. Now, as far as electricity goes, yes, you're going to be asked to do some dangerous things sometimes, but the way most unions work, you don't work live unless you're troubleshooting or testing. It's very rare that you work live as a union shop. Non-union guys, they don't give a shit. Some places you can't shut down, glass factories, ceramics, steel mills. You can't shut those machines off because it causes more problems. But there are ways to work on that high voltage and do it safely without injuring yourself. Anybody that I've heard of getting injured and all the pictures I've seen from electricity, if you look at the stats on all the job accidents, most of them are electrocutions or something electricity related. Now, what that means for you is if you skip a step or you take a shortcut, that's when those guys get hurt. Sometimes you got to check, and double check to make sure your work is okay and what you're working on is extra safe. It's no different than being deployed. It's no different than being a police officer. As a young man, if you want to get paid, you're going to have to take some risks. Imagine my journeyman was about one of the journeymen that trained me. I'm 40 now, but 5-6 years ago, I had a journeyman who was 26 years old, which means he came straight out of high school, went into the trades. He had folks who were ahead of him, family members, uncles, and stuff like that, who were also in the trades. And they taught him that you can make a decent living without going to college. So this man was like, back then, the wage scale was like $55 an hour. So at $55 an hour, as a 26-year-old man, I mean, the scale is higher now. So 55, I can't remember what the change was. 55 times 40 is $2,200. I want to say, hang on, let's see something here. Let me do, see, it's 40-hour week. Let me go. No, he was telling me he was making $2,500. The scale was 55 or 56 back then. I can't quite remember. But let me divide this by 40. That'll give me the correct number. So yeah, about the time I was in my first year of apprenticeship, it was closer to $60 an hour. And you're talking about a 26-year-old man. 26-year-old man. I have more life experience than this guy. I retired 22 years from the military, and this guy was making 3 to 4 times more than I did at the current rank that I retired at. So $62.50 per hour as a young man. Let me pull up another scale here because let's see. Because you can always punch this in. 62 per hour annual salary. That's 100. Let's see, 130,000, and we live in an area where you make about, let's see, your cost of living is what, 168% of the national average. So when you drill that down, you're still making. Let me look at it at the current one, because let's see, Seattle 6805, 168 total package, 94.97. When you drill this down after, taxes, pension, and all that, cost of living, $40.55 per hour. $40.55 per hour is around $80,000, which is still pretty damn good. As a young man, even with a family, if the average is $40-something thousand, and you're adjusted down to 55, you're still making double what the average person makes, as long as you can stay gainfully employed, to include side jobs and so forth. That's an excellent salary to have. Like I said, I gave you a quick overview of what we do. We bend pipes, we run wires, we wire up devices. All those nice restaurants you go into, we wire all that stuff. The fire alarm, which is big money because a lot of people don't want to touch fire alarm. I mean, you can really make some serious cash out here, especially as folks are going green and want solar panels. I've seen a lot of guys save a bunch of money because all they had to do was buy the panels, pay their permits and fees, install the stuff themselves. They probably saved about half, because most of your costs when it comes to getting work done in your house, and it's attributed to labor. You got to pay the prevailing wage if you want a guy to come out and touch anything in your house. And houses are more difficult than industrial, in my opinion. Then you got the guys that do a lot of side jobs in addition to, especially with these car chargers. You can't find enough charging stations in some places, so you're reliant upon the bullshit charger that comes with your car. But if you want to charge it fast and have it ready to go, ready to go the next day, you got to deal with getting some work done to your house just so you can do that. So in some certain places, they want to ban gasoline cars right off the bat. Now you got to install a fast charger for your car. You know how much fast chargers cost for your cell phone? Imagine when you do that for your car. Like crazy, right? All right, so this is electricians. We are not the highest paid. Some of these numbers can be higher than this. I think San Francisco got another contract because they need people to work. The population of gentlemen who normally do these jobs, because let's be honest, like 96% of all construction workers are male. So with a lot of the older generation retiring, there's going to be a huge knowledge gap, as well as there's going to be a pay increase, because the few guys that are left, in order to get them to come to your city, because you can travel as an electrician. If you're a fully licensed electrician, you can travel all over the country chasing overtime and high wages for certain types of projects. That's one of the great benefits of being a skilled journeyman, because you can go wherever. I know guys that travel as welders. As easy as welding is, that's all they do is travel, and they get paid like $50 to $60 an hour to go to wherever. Some places will pay your expenses to come out there so that you can weld some stuff at a shipyard or at a railroad. And then they'll try to grease your wheels and try to keep you there by offering you even more money. So the choice is yours. If you like to travel, there are companies out there that will pay you for it. You can look all over TikTok. Those guys, getting that money. Now, if I'm not mistaken, some types of welding falls under electricians. So take this scale, but bump it up a little bit, because if you have a welding certification, add 10% to each one of these numbers. If you're an electrical splicer for high voltage, add 10% to these numbers. If you have the certifications to be a foreman where you can run the construction project, add 10% to these numbers. And if you're a foreman long enough, you can be a general foreman, and you can get the GF scale, which is probably around 15 to 25% of these very same numbers. So imagine, let's see, in my area, we're going to just look at this calculator. I'm going to bring this back up and keep it simple. Plus 15% just to be a general foreman, 71.75 times 28.75 per week. So let's say minus 30% for taxes in total. There you go. So each week you're pulling around $2,000 a week. This is just a week. The scale is much higher now, but back in when I first started 5 years ago, this is what guys were looking at per week. Believe it or not, this is what guys were pulling out per week. If you went on my union's website, you can pull up the old wage scales, and when they were at $62.50, this is what the guys were getting. This is like 15 or 20% to be a general foreman. A foreman makes 10%, but yeah, you got more responsibilities. Most guys don't even deal with that. So before I move on out of this, I want to scroll down the scale. Maybe some of you guys out here will see your city on the map. You're going to see a lot of cities missing because some people don't report in from where they are. Either the wages are too low, or they're trying to keep folks from coming out there and snatching up all the work. You get some electricians, they like to hoard all the work and they don't like to tell anybody anything. And I got some paperwork over here. I'm gonna end up scanning it and putting it online, because there are hidden websites where you can look at this stuff. But let's be honest, it takes a little while to become an electrician. I think you can stay more gainfully employed as a journey electrician worker. So here we go. Los Angeles. This is your wages. Boston, Martinez, Paramus, New Jersey, Napa, California. See, the guys from California have no problem checking in. One of the ones that I think is the best right here, check this one out. Elgin, Illinois. I'm not sure how far that is from Chicago. Chicago is pretty good too. So imagine this wage right here, and your expenses are 7% lower than the national average. And when they adjust it down, you're still making $56.15 per hour just to live in this state, in this part of the state. So they got it pretty good. Chicago's still not too bad. I mean, you might have to take a bullet in the ass, but hey, it is what it is. Now, let's jump down here. Why is my kick not working? Stream. Here we go. Forgot getting your stream preview. Hang on, let me stop for a second. I need to figure out why I'm not live on Kick again. Output. Okay. So Kick is being real funny. I'm trying to get my Kick stream to start. And for some reason it's not. Yeah, for some strange reason, Kick is not working for me. So I'm just going to continue on with YouTube, and we're going to keep it moving. So let's see. Close some of these extra windows I got going on. because it doesn't look like we're going to get it going. All right, so scrolling down, Tacoma, Washington, they have 118%. Seattle 168, but still pretty damn good. I'm gonna keep scrolling down. So as you can see, when we say that folks make their six figures, yeah, you still got to come over here to this other column right here. If it's not above $50 an hour, $50 an hour is what puts you at six figures after they adjust you down for cost of living. Okay, down scroll too high. So you'll make the money, but after taxes, yeah, you got some stuff to look at. You got some stuff to look at, okay? But still pretty decent wages versus the guys that had to go to college that accumulate a lot of debt. Now let's go up here and jump into one of the ones that people swear that they won't do. Now also on this website, it'll point you to the union pages where you can sign up and hopefully get accepted, so you can jump into one of these trades, because the way it works is you apply just like any other job. If you have some prior construction experience, prior service, military, you've done similar jobs, stuff like that, that helps. Some guys take on jobs just so they can get into certain unions. Anything construction related will help you out a bit. And if you click on the join link in any one of these, it'll point you to the local unions in your area, and that's where you apply. So let's take a look at plumbers, okay? One of the myths that I want to dispel about plumbers is that you're always fixing somebody's toilet, always in some shit, in some, in I guess you can say in nasty situations, and that's not always true. These guys service large buildings, apartment complexes. A lot of guys, part of it is new construction, old construction. Basically, if the building's not being built right then and there, that's old construction. And yes, I've seen what these guys do. Sometimes you have to get down and dirty, but that type of work requires extra pay, and that's what they get. A lot of plumbers don't pay for their own tools. They don't pay for parking if you live in a large city. So you get a bunch of incentives to be a plumber. However, it can be competitive. It can be difficult to get into. The apprenticeship, from what I remember, was about 5 years. A lot of them are going to 4 years. But let's take a look at what these guys make to deal with your bullshit. Also, if you're afraid of heights, a lot of these jobs may not be for you. So I just want to throw that out there. All right, now. So the best average of all cities is the first thing it's going to give you. Number 3, local union number 3, Aurora, Colorado. These guys make about $98,000. That's not accounting overtime. That is your standard 40 hours a week, regular working schedule throughout the year. And you will make $98,000 a year, which means that when you factor in overtime, you're probably going to get 10 to 15% higher or lower, depending on how much work is going on in your area. So after you adjust their cost of living, you're still around 26.25, which is the best out of all the categories on there. That's why it's sorted first. Still around 40. Let's see, 42, 26 is 42 doubled plus the 25. So you're probably around $45,000 a year. Still better than the national average. Also in Colorado, they have legalized marijuana. So that's a lot you can do with that money over there. So, all right. So let's look at the thing that we all want to see the most of. Who makes the most? These guys are making average right here. Since I clicked on it first, it dropped us down to the low end, which is average. This is Mobile, Alabama, where they have a cost of living, which is 82%. That is 18% less than the national average. Therefore, if you're working in this state, making above average, and you only have 82% of the cost nationwide, you are balling. You're driving luxury cars, living in a decent place. You can definitely support a family after they adjust your cost of living down to $60-something thousand a year. Now let's look at the high end, which is probably going to be California once again. Oakland, California has a 70%, 6% above average cost of living. Even when you adjust it down, you're still making $80,000, but you don't have the same expenses as you do in the other part of California. I can't remember if it was San Jose or what I was talking about there. So you're at 144,000. That is not including overtime. There you go. Hourly rate $72 an hour, more than $1 a minute. And the reason why I keep saying that is that you ever sit on a job and you're worried about your hourly pay. Imagine if you're making $1 a minute. Every time you go take a dump, you made $10 to go take a dump on company time. That's probably the best part of my day. So these unions, they have, when it says combo here, you have pipe fitters. Pipe fitters are the guys who put together like large industrial piping, whether it be for water, sewage, chemicals, acids, stuff like that. It's like Boeing uses a lot of acids, so they use not necessarily acids. They have certain types of pipes for hazardous materials. They're made out of different material. Those guys specialize in putting all that stuff together. Now you're wondering, how is that different from a plumber? Plumbers install fixtures and stuff like that. They do a lot more of the troubleshooting. Your pipe fitters, they weld pipes together. They do longer runs of pipe. And essentially pipes move material from one area to another through those cylindrical objects. But that's probably the best I know about what they do. One is concerned with bathrooms, health, and stuff like that. Your pipe fitters, they do sort of the similar job, okay? And they pretty much split and get paid the same. Now, a plumber doesn't have to sit here and lift these heavy ass 6-inch pipes all over the place, or deal with the pipe network, steam, energy generation. They don't have to deal with any of that. But they do install fixtures, your faucets, water fountains. I think it all really boils down to the size of the pipe they work with. But they're all essentially plumbers in my mind, so it is what it is. So taking a look at Seattle, 5941, which I think is a typo, because I remember years ago they got a raise to around $60-something, about the same as electricians, except they get more as far as benefits goes than electricians do, i.e. the parking part, which really pisses a lot of guys off, because you're spending like $25-30 a day, which is basically damn near, at one point for me, it was about an hour of pay per day just to park downtown Seattle in that area. So it sucked for me, so it is what it is. So we'll scroll down this list and take a look at it. If you want to know about more about what plumbers do, I would point you to YouTube and do your own research. I can only tell you about the electrical work. I got, so many videos and so many things you got to do. As far as electricity goes, you have to be really good at math. I will throw that out there now. I'm not going to hold you. And you'll learn all that stuff when you go, because you got to be an apprentice. For any one of these jobs, you have to be an apprentice, where they teach you the job. In most cases, you don't have to pay anything to go to school. You just work, and then they send you to school. And then once you finish, you probably got to give them like 5 years of your time, which could be your entire apprenticeship or your apprenticeship plus 5 years. Not really a bad commitment, because you're getting paid the whole time. Now, let's jump over here to linemen. These are your guys who go out during the storms. They deal with your medium voltage. I know it's going to sound ass backwards. Medium voltage and above. They're out there in the major cities, tropical storms, bringing power to you and yours. So on the high end, you got 6440, which I think is higher than that. They get a crazy amount of their contract I had a buddy of mine tell me about their contract. Their contract guarantees them a certain amount of money per hour as you see here, and guaranteed overtime and double time sometimes, and depending on what's going on. So like say you're storm chasing as a journey lineman, whatever company you go to, you're guaranteed to make overtime and double time depending on when and where you work. Now in our contract for an inside wireman, right, 8 hours is straight time. If you go over 8 hours, no matter how many hours you work that week, they have to pay you overtime. So if there's a day where they want you to do 10 hours, the last 2 hours of your day is time and a half. That's in our contract. Now, if you go over 10 hours, it automatically goes up to double time until you max out. That's it. Saturdays is automatic, time and a half. Sundays, no matter when you work during the week, if they call you in on a Sunday, that is double time. So imagine making $120 something an hour, and say they got to pay you 8 if you come in, or not necessarily, but depending on the type of job, they may have to pay you 8. That's 8 hours. That's $900 and something, $960 that you made that day just by going to work. Now I know what a lot of YouTubers going to say is that if you really want to make some money, you need to go start your own business. But not everybody's able. Not everybody can do it. Not everybody has the funding and support to start their own business. What I'm trying to do is get you to see that there's better things out there than working in a damn cubicle, killing yourself, going into debt for. And let me dispel one more thing. Guys will sit up here and tell you that, oh, you're going to be hurting, your knees won't work, your back won't work, your hands are going to be messed up by the time you get older. If you do what you're supposed to do, you're going to be just fine. You could sit in the office like I did for the last few years of my career, and you can end up hurting just as bad as if you were doing construction work. Now, getting hurt and having ailments, it comes with the territory. It's, just like being a soldier, it's inherently dangerous, but not always dangerous. Working in the office, you're guaranteed to get carpal tunnel. You're guaranteed to have neck, back problems. You're going to gain weight. You're going to have cardiovascular problems. So, I mean, you do what you do and pick and choose what you want. But I'm telling you, stop listening to these folks. Stop going on everybody's word. That degree is just a piece of paper. They can hire and fire you at any time. At least as a journey electrician, no matter what job I step onto, they got to keep you 90 days. Whether the job is 90 days or longer, but in that time frame, I've made double what you made this year. Now, what I've done, let's see, last year, I'll give you an example. Last year, I probably worked maybe half of the year. And when I got my W-2s, because I got laid off, like once our project was finished, that is part of the territory. You don't need construction workers. Like once you complete a building, you just wait till another project is ready to go up, and then you're right back at it. So I worked about half the year. Half the year, and I got, about 80 grand because I worked a lot during that half a year. I know guys who are linemen that only chase storms, and they'll work maybe half a year and they're set. For me, because of where I live at, it's kind of expensive. So working half the year, yeah, I made 80 grand, but I still kind of struggled a little bit. And I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I struggled a little bit. But as far as my friend, who's a lineman, who went down there to Florida during the tropic storm, stuff like this, dude came back with like 300 grand just working those storms. Correction, it was like 250 working storms. So in life, like I said, it's about trade-offs, give and take. Yeah, the work is dangerous, can be dangerous, but I don't know. Some people say money ain't everything. I don't think money is everything. However, the more you have, the more you can do stuff with. We have excellent 401k plans. No losses recorded in 20 years. We have excellent retirement, 15 years, 35,000 hours. You retire at 60, 62 or something like that. Or you can take an early retirement at 55, a reduced rate of 30%. But most people don't even get that. Your retirement plan is your 401k. For us, when we retire, you actually get a check. And on average, these guys are getting $5,000 a month when they retire at the age of 62. A 30% reduction gives you what, $4,000? No, not $4,000, $3,000 per month. And you can go off and do something else. If you work the trade, let's say you're a young 20-something years old, 35, your pension is already set. You can go do something else. From 35 to damn 55, rack up another pension. There are guys out here making a pension because they work different jobs. And the one guy who's an iron worker and then switched over to electrician to draw this pension. He's also, I think he also retired before I did. So when it's all said and done, I'm pretty sure this dude's gonna put down maybe 12 to 15 per month and not having to do anything if he retired completely and not worked another day. So it's all about the moves you trying to make. I'll answer questions. Leave me a comment in my video. Like, share, subscribe. I'll try to answer them as best as possible. Now, moving on to telecom, right? Telecom is just one of those areas like, running cables, fiber optics, basically what the cable guys do, except you're doing it in a commercial setting. So my brother does this right here. It's low voltage, probably like half a watt, which is not very much at all. Like, I've never seen anybody get electrocuted off an Ethernet cable, but that's what they pull, cable wires and so forth. All right, so here we go. I'm just going to jump straight to what gets paid the most. So in Las Vegas, right, $50 an hour to pull network cables. If you've ever had to wire something in your house or pull wires through your car just so you can hook up the amps in the back, this is pretty much what you're doing. You're not dealing with the same amperage or voltage as 12 volts. In your car, it's a lot of amps. DC voltage, a lot of amps. Can be dangerous, but I've never seen anybody get really electrocuted from a car. But I mean, I'm sure this has happened. But they do the backbone stuff. So if you live in a high-rise apartment where the internet is included in your rent, like it is in Seattle, these are the guys that maintain that. They do the troubleshooting. They land they put the jacks on the wires, the Ethernet cables. They do the fiber optics. They run that type of cable. I'm calling it a cable because, fiber optics is really like a glass freaking, you can't really call it a wire. It's like a glass filament wrapped in a bunch of stuff, but it takes a lot to get those cables just right so they transmit data the way they're supposed to. So all these guys do is deal with your broadband, internet, telephone, and so forth. Even some fire alarm as well. That's what they do. Now, out in California, it's probably not worth going there to be there, even though that is Silicon Valley out there in California, where a lot of the internet hosting goes. You may not want to move there for that job, but if you had to, you probably would. If you're chasing the money in overtime, because there's data centers going up all over the place, especially with all this VR and new technology, you gotta look at that. When I jumped into the electrical field, I was looking at the projections because once upon a time I got out of the Army. My first MOS was dealing with computers. So I thought I had a bright future in repairing computers because I like to work with my hands, I'm gonna be honest. So I thought that those jobs would be waiting. And then you had the .com burst, and you had all these companies like Dell move all their operations overseas. So those jobs went away. now we're back to the point where we're mostly consuming everything. People need VR headsets. It takes a lot of data for VR and all these special internet applications. It takes a lot of data. These data centers are huge. If you've seen the data center for Facebook, which I've been in one, I've done some work in a few. They are huge. I've done data work for some data work for Boeing. I've installed controls for cranes and so forth. So Boeing is one of those places where they're always innovating. They have data centers too. So if you don't want to deal with anything that could possibly electrocute you, you're going to take a pay cut. You're going to lose about $20 an hour because you don't want to do anything dangerous. However, if you want to get to where somewhere comparable, you gotta you give this one a shot. Not a whole lot of back-breaking work from what my brother tells me, since they're pulling all these cables. Yeah, he's tired a lot, but I even finally got him to agree with me. He sees what I'm saying about how much is your 8 hours worth. How much is your 8 hours worth? All right, let's jump over here to the carpenters. I know this stream is really boring because it's almost like looking at a slideshow, but I promise you, if you scroll through a little bit, even if you put this video on double time, just so you can get through it, you're going to learn something. So here are your carpenters, right? A lot of y'all are interested in flipping houses. And the way things are going, if you can afford to flip houses, there's a lot of money to be made. I know, since I jumped into this type of field, I've met a lot of people who have been made a lot of offers to come work for them or do work for them. I mean, they kind of lowball you. Nobody's done anything comparable to what I make in the industrial field, but they're out there. I'm pretty sure if I flipped enough houses on the low end, I can make a lot more money than I do now, but it takes capital. It takes a lot of capital. One guy I went and did some work for, he paid me $1,000 to as easy as swapping out outlets. He basically paid me $1,000 to come troubleshoot one of his properties because he thought that he was going to put in some GFCIs, and he wired them ass backwards, but it ended up costing him. Took me about 2 hours, $1,000 later, and he was happy with it. So, but let me take a short break, and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Let me jump over here so I'm gonna wrap this up, right? So what I want y'all to do is go over to this website, take a look, go to the union's website, and they'll tell you the different types of projects they're working on. They even tell you, they even list on their website some of the projects they worked on, where you can go in your career. because I know there's several guys who worked in the construction field. A lot of the structural guys have gone into lighting, working for like Sylvania, Lutron. I'm drawing a blank on a few more, but there are different places where you can go in these different fields. Heck, you can become a company man for one of these product, one of the manufacturers. They always need people. And the current folks who are in jobs right now, they pretty much getting ready to retire. The last time I checked with one of my friends, they said that they called out an electrician, because I don't always work. I don't work on my friend's stuff. I'm just be honest. Like, nobody wants to, after you get off work, come home and work for somebody else. It's just beyond me. It doesn't matter what kind of check is involved, unless I absolutely need it, or I'm trying to do something, or I just want to just add some money to the bank account. I can pretty much pick and choose how much I want to work, what I'm going to work for, and so forth. But I've had friends, and yeah, they're upset with me, call people because they want something done in their house, and they got to wait months before an actual licensed electrician could come out and deal with them. Now, I'm not fully licensed. I can do the work. I'm not going to pull out no permits. I'm not doing all this extra stuff. Once I get off work, I'm done. I mean, it's just like anything else. Like, some guys, they work on cars. Like, when they get off of work, the only cars they want to work on is their project cars. They don't want to work on stuff for people because they need stuff. I mean, there's no interest in it. But when you get a chance, check out the website. Take a look around. Apply if you need to. I guarantee you it'll change your life. Imagine, getting paid every single week instead of waiting 2 weeks. Retirement benefits, medical. They take good care of their people. All these contractors out here, they need people, so they're going to take care of you. If you want to change your circumstance, double what you make, because shit, even in Seattle, they make like, $15 an hour at McDonald's? Starting as an electrician apprentice is at 24. So, I mean, what do you want to do? Seriously, what do you want to do? You want to flip burgers? Or you want to turn some tools? But anyway, I think this has gone on long enough. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Y'all have a good weekend. I know it's about a week after Easter. I got to do a lot more of these more often. I'll go through the rest of these. Let me jump back to my screen here. I will jump back to the rest of these and do another blue collar series. But yeah, y'all need to get on it. With the amount of jobs going away, you need to get on it. You need to figure something out. Again, here's your list. Here is your list. I talked about the three that's probably making the most money right now. That's your list. Now, you can Google for more construction jobs. There's more out there, but the general consensus is whatever you see here is what's really going on out here. This is the majority. There are some specialties out there I can't list. Like they got, I'll give you an example. Underwater divers make a ton of money. Underwater welders, rather, make a ton of money. However, the schools are competitive. I'm pretty sure you got to pay out of pocket, and it's more strenuous than anything on this list. But they are heavily gainfully employed. Another example, one of the guys I was talking with, actually he was an apprentice, coming into the electrical field because, kind of the work kind of dried up for him for a bit. He, without giving away too much, worked on naval ships' radar systems. So he can work at any shipyard across the country. But he was more interested in picking up additional skills because, you need electricity to run radar. But to make himself more valuable, he decided to become an apprentice, take a pay cut. So he can work on shit all over the country because ships need radar to avoid collisions. He can work at airstrips. But he wanted that added benefit of being an electrician to learn a little bit more about how everything worked, whether he stays in the field or not. But he's pretty much made himself pretty valuable. And I think he finished before I did, maybe 6 months ago. Need to get a hold of him. But like I said, there's plenty of places to go, things to see, experience to be had. I'm gonna post some few shorts on here where we're doing CAD welding, adding grounding to a building, because we're building a large rail system. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff to do out there. But anyway, I'm out. I will see y'all another time.
It be raining now, I keep making sound. Go another round, I'm legend bound, can't stop me now.